Hi and welcome back. So today I want to talk a little bit about why we created Scriberly and a little bit more broadly about why online tools like Scriberly and job boards and things like that are really important. Obviously they are, useful tools, but also they're really important, I think, to a kind of modern, fair job market. So we made Scriberly, or I designed Scriberly, or came up with Scriberly because I work in recruitment. And one thing that I noticed was that so many people didn't know how to make CVs. They either didn't know what to say, which was maybe the main problem, but also they didn't know how to format things, they didn't know how much to say, they didn't know, whether they needed to include a photo or not. So, a lot of people had a lot of problems creating their CV now. That might not seem like a massive issue, and especially if you're good at writing CVs, which if you're watching this video, you may not be, that might not be a massive issue, but it is really important in terms of making sure that the job market and the employment market in general is fair. We all know that we live in a society where nepotism is rampant. We all know that, so many people who are at the top of their world get there through the connections that they have, through their parents, through, the people that they've met at their elite schools. And often that also comes with just knowing how that world works, right? Have you ever felt like you feel like you could achieve a certain job or be really good at being at a certain level, or you think you could climb the ladder, but you just kind of don't know how? Like, you have the ability to achieve when you're through the door, you just don't have the key. And that's certainly something that I felt a lot in my career, especially being in a kind of white collar industry, especially being in, in the center of London. And one really obvious way that shows that you're not kind of part of the club, or that, holds people back, is their CV. It's really obvious when you look at a CV, whether you have been taught to write a CV or not, or whether the right people have taught you how to write a CV or not. And this is something, that people get trained to do, at elite level schools, elite level universities. It's something that, comes naturally to them because they have, family or friends in those in that kind of echelon of society who know how to do them and can teach them how to do them. But often when people come to write a CV, if they haven't had that kind of training, they realize that all of a sudden they don't know how to do it, and and therefore they can't put across their information in the best way, they can't show off their skills in the best way, and they can't, prove how great they are in the best way. And that's really what a CV is. A CV is there to show your potential new employers how fantastic you are in a really clean and obvious way. So I think that, one of the main reasons why I designed Scriberly was to kind of bridge that gap between the people who are in the know and the people that aren't, to get people to, give people opportunities that they may not have been able to if they hadn't got a great CV. Maybe they are perfect for the job, but they just don't know how to put a CV together, or maybe they'd be fantastic for that role, but their CV is too long, so it gets overlooked, or the information's in the wrong place. So really that is, the wider reason as to why I created Scriberly, but also just far more broadly, why these sorts of things are really important. We've seen how with the use of AI and with the use of job boards and with LinkedIn and with YouTube and with, video tutorials on YouTube and Instagram, how we can kind of equalize the world, make the world a little bit fairer by giving people access to information that they didn't have access to before, and hopefully Scriberly can be a part of that. But more generally, obviously there's been a lot of negative press and rightful criticism around AI and social media But there are some really positive elements, and hopefully Scriberly, as I say, can be part of that. So thank you again for taking the time to watch these videos. As always, like, follow and share. Anytime, anywhere, Scriberly. Cheers.